One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. Today's One Question is with Tailgate Guys President and CEO Parker Duffey. Last week there was news, of course, Parker, of you guys doing an acquisition or I guess a merger with another entity within your space. But let's actually start this conversation with how Tailgate Guys got started. You guys have operations in a number of college towns and cities now, offering what I would call premium pregame opportunities or experiences. But where's the founding idea of this business, Parker?
Oh, honestly, Matt, it's one of those things that I'd love to say that, me and one of my buddies in college were sitting around over beers and say, hey, man, we should be doing this. But it's really not. We met a guy that was doing this on the side somewhere, and we saw the concept and saw the merit in it and felt that it was something that could be taken to a much larger scale with the right type of organization and alignment with different types of partners. And so we really, at that point, once the idea landed, we were in the right place at the right time. If we would have been 6 months earlier, 6 months later with this concept, it really wouldn't have gotten off the ground. But my business partner and I, we actually met after college. We were neighbors, believe it or not, and we got invited to a mutual friend's Halloween party. So we met at this Halloween party, started talking shop, and then 3 months later, we were business partners.
Okay, so you're in Atlanta, Auburn, Austin, College Station, Fort Worth, and Gainesville. But if I'm, let's say I'm Mitch Barnhart up the road from me at Kentucky, and I don't know if you're talking to Mitch or not. I assume you're probably trying to get to Kentucky. But if I'm Mitch Barnhart and I take a meeting with you guys, what's the pitch? What are you selling me?
Well, it's honestly an easy sell, and as cliche as it sounds to say it's a win-win-win, it really is. It's one of those things that when we started, it wasn't like those, we're going into our 9th season now, so it wasn't the game day experience, and attendance wasn't these hot-button items that we see now. But for what it is, we're a service-based event management company that really is centered on enhancing that game day experience for the patrons and our university partners and our NFL partners and the different groups we work with. But it's a revenue generator. It's something that we've done. I'm very proud of what we've generated for our partners, the game day experience, but then also the organization control with the ever-changing environment on campuses. You and I were talking about it briefly earlier that pedestrian access is the way of the world now on campus. So it's getting harder and harder for fans and our patrons to get closer to the stadium to have that experience. So simplifying it, creating a turnkey process, it really is turned out to be a really valuable product.
So without actually using real numbers, let's kind of break down the model per institution. So you called it a win-win-win. Where does the money exchange hands that creates margin for everybody?
As far as the money changing hands, is something that we work directly with the university fans or the NFL fans, the donors, and handle all the sales and the onboarding on that side of things. And really, so we handle all the revenue coming from them, and then we have a partnership with each university to settle up with them at the end of the year.
And how many people would you have on site during a game day, and on a given game day?
As far as our patrons, or are you talking about staff? Staff, man, it varies. It's something that, at Auburn now, I'll say that we host around 40,000 people per game. So around half the people that go in that stadium are under our supervision before we get in there. So, we might have 100 people on staff in Auburn leading up to the game, where, some of our younger partnerships, you might have, 30. So it's a wide range based on the maturity and the size of each operation.
Give us a range across all your locations of, if I'm a group of guys or a big family and I want to have a tailgate spot in Austin, what kind of range of costs am I looking at across your portfolio?
Well, that's one of the things that I love about our business model is that this is something that is a premium service that is also approachable to the masses. This is something that's geared towards families. It's geared towards a smaller group. So a group of 10 to 15 guys, y'all can go in and tailgate for $250, up to, whatever you want. You can blow the doors off and have all the bells and whistles and the full catering and, spend 4 times that. But it's, when you break it down with those numbers, it's something that's really approachable to the masses.
Do you have a sense of like what your market share is right now?
Oh man, I don't even know if you would call this a market yet. This is something that's such a young model. This is we're proud of what we've done. We're obviously going into our 9th season. I think we've carved out a space in there that has allowed us to step into the lead. Obviously, with our recent acquisition of Gameday Tents in Tuscaloosa, that builds a lot of new strength into us. So I don't really know what to say the market share really is of ours, but I feel good about where we're going, though.
Yeah. So what about where you're going? Where do you want to be? How many locations? Say let's say 3 years down the road. What would be a win for you?
Well, I'll tell you, looking at what we're doing and stepping back to what I said earlier, being a service-based event management organization, we're looking at things now. We're being approached by several organizations in the National Football League and the PGA and different music festivals. So what we're seeing a lot of the traction of what we're doing outside of college sports. I think one thing we've done really well too, Matt, is it's not like like I said, we're in our ninth season and we have 7 university partners in a couple NFL programs, a couple bowls. So we haven't just gone out and tried to grab all these partnerships. We're very selective on how we move forward with these relationships. We spend a lot of time with each entity. We do a lot of due diligence. So, we don't want to be a flash in the pan by any means. So to say that we won't have new partnerships in the next year is probably not accurate, but it's not like we're going to come out and try to be on 30 campuses in the next 12 months.
What is the most significant scaling challenge? The right people to run each location? What other challenges do you have?
If you had asked me this question 12 months ago, 18 months ago, I'd had a different answer for you, which I think you being an entrepreneur and small business owner, you can understand the challenges that I'm about to say. We used to be operationally based, like how can we improve this system? How can we improve this area of our operation? Where now it's communication, organization, personnel, org charts are things that I always felt like when it was just me and a handful of guys that wasn't necessary. Where now that type of organization and detail with the internal operations is becoming a priority. So from an administrative side of things and management side, obviously that's the challenge. But then the scaling beyond that, it's a very, very labor intensive business. And so finding the people on the ground that can execute to our standards is definitely one of our biggest challenges, and do so in a cost effective manner to keep those costs down for our patrons. Yeah,
that makes sense. We started this conversation before we recorded, and today's February the 21st. And you said, the season's gonna be on us before you know it. What are you doing today that you're already worried about 6 months from now?
Well, we're opening up for renewals in a couple of weeks, and one thing we've been putting a lot of our time and effort into it is really bolstering our organization from a technology perspective. So it's always been very manual with how we record information and how we interact with our clients. And so now we're really looking at finding ways to make that process a little more seamless for them. And so we've got a new back-end website system that we're launching out there, which I think is going to change everything for us internally and for our clients. But this is where we start thinking about the hires that we're going to need and, the marketing plans, all of that to get the word out. Because this as well as anybody, football season will be here very, very soon.
Yeah, no question about that. Do you have any venture funding or angel funding that's helping push you forward, or is all this bootstrapped?
No, we bootstrapped this thing, man. It's my partner and I. We started this thing and we had a small line of credit and we haven't looked back on that. So we're lean. It's something that you saw the way we do things, the way we operate our facilities, and everything that is back end is very tight. And then we focus on putting our resources, our investments towards the clients and our university partners and our other partners as well.
All right. So if I could pin you down, if there was just one college property you could add in 2017, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, you are pinning me down. Oh man, there's a few out there. I'm not going to say names, but they know who they are. We've got some great partners. Look at the brands we have associated with what we're doing. This is something that I feel very, very fortunate that we're in the place we are, but there's still some really good people out there and some really good athletic directors and athletic programs that I'd love to be a part of.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.